Hello everyone, my name is Sniping is Fun, and I welcome you all back to the very long awaited, I've been saying I'm going to be doing this for months now, return of my top 10 lists. I have not done a top 10 list on my channel in a long time. I think it was like 2018 sometime. I think it was the last time I did a top 10 list. Since then I've been doing a lot of the 5 lists, which are going to be separate from my top 10s, and the next season of those are going to start sometime early next year, and I'll do the top 10s as its own separate thing. But I do have a couple top 10 lists I've been saying for a while. I have been working on top 10 lists, and if you follow me on Twitter or on Facebook, I have made posts of them, tweets of them. Now I'm going to do visual representation of those lists for you all in videos on YouTube. But this first one, and you should know the name of the video, the thumbnail when I change it, what it specifically is going to be. But due to the fact that we are so close to the end of the year, in less than a week, it's going to be next year, I want to do this as my first list in returning to my top 10 lists. And it's going to be my top 10 video games I'm looking forward to in 2022 as of now, because there's obviously going to be more games announced in time and whatnot, but as of now, this is my top 10 with some honorable mentions. Video games I'm looking forward to next year, and I wanted to get this list out of the way first because this year's almost over with, and I would like to get this out of the way as quick as possible before we get into 2022. So with that being said, let's get started with, as you can see right here, I have a clipboard, which would be a way of me doing my list. Normally I just have the list in front of me and I read it off as I'm talking to you. Sometimes I have visual aids. I'm going to be using this clipboard too. I'm going to be trying to mix it up and spruce it up so it's a little bit different and more variety for you guys when you come across my videos than just me talking to the camera. I at least have a visual aid on, for you guys to talk about. So with that being said, without further ado, before I don't want this video to go on super long, let's get started with my top 10 video games I'm looking forward to in 2022. And number 10, it's going to be Rune Factory 5, which is coming, as far as I know, exclusively to the Switch. I am not super into the Rune Factory franchise, but I have played a couple here and there, namely Tides of Destiny on the Wii was like the first one I really played. And I think I played a little bit of 4. And I've heard good things about the franchise. I'm not super into it in terms of I actually have played the games, but I love the concept of it because I do somewhat like Harvest Moon type games, like those you build you can get married, have a family, you raise crops and stuff like that. But this is basically take that and infuse it with an action RPG, and it's the formula about that for some reason I really like, because I'm a big RPG guy, and due to the fact that I have some resemblance of an interest in games like Harvest Moon, it's meshing them together. And the new Rune Factory game comes out next year on the Switch, and I do have at least some sort of interest, at least enough interest that I think as of now it is at least number 10 on my top 10 list. And for some of you out there, you probably have more interest in Rune Factory. You've probably played the entire series and it's for your number 1. I have at least a passing interest in the fact that I like the concept of it. I played a few games in the series, and I'm looking forward to the next brand new big one to add to my Switch collection at some point. So that is Rune Factory 5. Number 9 is going to go to River City Girls 2. River City Girls 1 was a really fun beat-em-up game. I love me some good beat-em-up games. That is a genre that, growing up with, I really love good beat-em-ups. And that is actually a pretty good one from Way Forward. And the sequel looks like it's improving it, more characters, and just going to improve what made the first one great. And on top of the fact that, it comes off of River City Ransom, the Kunio-kun games, the Double Dragon games. I love all those games, especially Double Dragon. It is a classic series. I want to see more River City Girls 2. It has online co-op, couch, 2-player split screen co-op like the first one did. It was a fun experience. I liked it. It has really good music, art style, the way they kind of integrated the old school means of Kunio-kun and River City and made it more modern and is Way Forward. Their art styles are almost always good. Their games are almost always good. I trust them with that. And River City Girls 2 comes out, I think, next summer, and I'm looking forward to it. Number 8 is going to go to Chocobo GP. My God, seeing Chocobo Racing come back this year, announced, I think it was at E3, was actually probably one of the biggest things for me specifically of announcements from Nintendo. And you're going to see a bunch of Nintendo like Switch games on this list too. Like if you haven't noticed, all 3 games are at least on Switch, if not exclusive to it. But there are some other games mixed in there too. It's just that Switch has gotten my attention lately, so spoiler alert. But yeah, Chocobo GP, I remember playing on the PlayStation 1 Chocobo Racing, and while it wasn't my biggest, most favorite racing game back then, I do have my fond memories of it. I do think it was a great game. I feel stupid for getting rid of it at some point. I traded it in or gave it to a neighbor or something, and that is a game I got rid of that I regret to this day, outside of many others. But I loved playing it, and I like RPGs, and Final Fantasy is obviously one of the biggest JRPGs of all time. To see Chocobo, Racing come back as Chocobo GP, Grand Prix, and all the white mages and the black mages and Chocobo and the red mages and all the class characters, whoever the hell else they put else in this game. You might be seeing some Final Fantasy characters, cross over, like Titus and Squall or Cloud or something. They always throw in like little actual main characters from Final Fantasy, and it looks like it has really good gameplay. From the trailer we saw back at E3, it looks quite fun, and I'm looking forward to that whenever it comes out. Number 7 is going to go to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. This goes back to the River City Girls situation. Beat 'em ups, I love beat 'em ups. It's one of my favorite genres of all time, and I'm a big Turtles fan. I grew up on the 80s cartoon in the 90s. All the video games like, Tournament Fighters and all this other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles merchandise and stuff I grew up with. Not as much as some of my older cousins did, but I grew up loving Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all the same. And it's a beat 'em up game. It's done in the style of Turtles in Time, which is a classic, and I love that game. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge just looks like a fun experience, a big multiplayer co-op thing. We know April O'Neil is going to be playable in it. We might get the likes of Splinter and Casey Jones, hopefully. They would be cool to have some options than just the Turtles and April. It has the 80s aesthetic for an art style, so they're definitely going for like Turtles in Time style beat 'em ups, and I am definitely looking forward to it. It does look like a fun game. Number 6 is going to go to Pokemon Legends Arceus. I'm interested in that it's something different from Pokemon than just the same old generation here and here out. Definitely the Pokemon game I'm most looking forward to now compared to the Gen 4 remakes, which I'm not super into playing, and I still haven't got them, but one day I'll pick one of them up. But I'm interested because it's different approach, different style. It's mixing generations together. It's kind of doing like a very Johto-esque, like ancient civilization kind of a thing. Arceus is like the big thing. It's not open world per se, but it gives us a small glimpse on what an open world Pokemon game could be one day when they finally just jump the shark and fully do a full-on open world Pokemon game. It's at least a step in the right direction. It's interesting. It's different. It's unique. It's definitely what Game Freak is fully putting their time on, given that they did not and were not the ones that did the Gen 4 remakes. They're the ones that are doing this. So they're definitely putting some time into it because they expect, that this is probably their big magnum opus for this year and this big next Pokemon game before we ever jump onto the next generation and other future remakes. But Pokemon Legends Arceus, it looks fun. Big Pokemon fan I am. I'm looking forward to it. And that's coming out like in a month. That would be I think a January game. So that's going to probably be one of the first games, at least on the earliest games on this list in terms of releases next year. So yeah, Pokemon Legends Arceus is my number 6. We are now in the top 5. And what's funny is every game I've so far done, like I just mentioned before, all of them are on Switch, and 3 of them are exclusive to Switch, and 2 of them are multiplats on Switch. I love my Switch. I just like seeing games get brought to it. But now we are going to number 5, which is a game, as of now at least, that's not confirmed for the Switch as of yet. But I could see it potentially coming over there. And number 5 is Multiverses, the big Warner Brothers, Smash Brothers clone ripoff, whatever you want to call it. You should know by now, I love Smash Brothers. I love fighting games. I love big crossover type games. And this is pretty, and as per, by my channel, I've been doing speculation for Smash Bros. For so long and talking about fighting games for like ever. I am looking forward to this game so damn much because it's so cool seeing Batman, Superman with Bugs Bunny. You got freaking like Game of Thrones in there. You got a bunch of characters in there. You got they got like Steven Universe. They've got Finn and Jake. They've got Shaggy from Scooby Doo. It's so, and just imagine who else they could add to that, and let alone the fact that it's a free to play game, and like I said, it's Smash Bros. With Warner Brothers characters, and there's so much they could add to it. I'm just so looking forward to it. It's definitely a game that was recently announced that I'm actually have much hype for because of the concept of it, the crossoverness of it, what kind of genre and game type it is, it being inspired by Smash Bros. Which nowadays, it's funny because now all these Smash Bros. Rip-offs and clones are starting to come out now. Like Rivals of Ether, that Nickelodeon game, this, and then like PlayStation All-Stars back in the day. Like, I want to see more of it. Companies, start doing more Smash Bros. Arena fighters. NumberFour is going to go to another way forward game of a Nintendo franchise this time, and that's the Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, which was delayed into next year. It was supposed to come out, I think, this month. It would have been out by now if they didn't delay it. But Way Forward is doing a remake of the first and the second Advance Wars games, which actually is a good thing for me because I never got around to playing the second Advance Wars. I played the first one, I totally missed the second one, and then I got, Dual Strike when it came to the DS, and then they did Days of Ruin. Those are the ones I played. I never played the second one, and I never actually fully played the first one either, so this gives me a chance to go back to finally beat the first one, actually play the second one, and this could be a good reboot for the franchise to finally come back, and then maybe after the next Fire Emblem, because obviously Intelligent Systems is probably working on a new Fire Emblem at this point, can make a new Advance Wars, which we have not had a legit new Advance Wars since like 2009. Intelligent Systems, after the next Fire Emblem game, which I'm sure you're working on right now, Fire Emblem 18, please make an Advance Wars before you go on to Fire Emblem 19. I beg of you and I pray for you. Please. But I'm definitely looking forward to this. The art style, the animation looks really, really nice. It's Way Forward style, like I mentioned with River City Girls 2. It's definitely something I am super looking forward to see Advance Wars get, rebooted, Reboot Camp, whatever. To see it come back finally. We are finally in the top 3, and this next game is going to be Bayonetta 3. I love the Bayonetta series quite a bit, and I got into the game very, very late. I never played Bayonetta 1 when it first came out. I didn't play Bayonetta 1 until it came to the Wii U, and I beat that game. I put so much time just to beat that game, and some of those bosses at the end of that game just got freaking hard as hell. But it was such a fun game. And then when I played the second one, I still need to beat the second one. I played it for so long, and then I got distracted, and I think I got stuck at a certain point, and it's been a while since I've been back on the Wii U. I might as well just at this point buy Bayonetta 2 on the Switch and just restart it. But I loved Bayonetta 1. I loved when I played the Bayonetta 2. I loved that they put her in Smash Brothers. And it's been years upon years since they announced Bayonetta 3, and we finally recently got some gameplay footage, and it looks badass as hell. And it's definitely one of my top games. I'm looking forward to it next year. Why it's number 3. And I'm looking forward to it. Bayonetta 3 is going to be a really, really fun game, a really, really good game, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. Number 2. Now, this game is not confirmed yet for 2022, but the rumors, the speculation, and what they're intending for their release is of holiday season 2022, and that's the AEW video game. My God, we are finally getting into the realm like we did back in the day when ECW and WCW were still around, or we're going to finally get some non-WWE, WWF, non-World Wrestling Entertainment wrestling games. And I'm looking forward to AEW's game, first and foremost because I'm a wrestling fan, and I love all of wrestling, not just one specific company, but all professional wrestling. But it's freaking Ukes, which is what made the WWE games back in the day with SmackDown and all that the best. SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain. SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth. The older SmackDown vs. Raw games. A lot of, the freaking like N64 games, PlayStation 1 games, GameCube games, Day Reckoning 1 and 2. They made all the good stuff back in the day. And they had like one of the directors from Aki who did, the likes of WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy, WCW, NWO Revenge, WCW versus NWO World Tour, the virtual pro wrestling games, all this great fun stuff with the AEW roster. You get CM Punk, you get Bryan Danielson, you'll get the Young Bucks, you're going to get Kenny Omega, you're going to get freaking, Darby Allin, you're going to get Sting, you're going to get Christian Cage, you're going to get a bunch of characters that are going to make a really good roster with really good gameplay. I'm definitely looking forward to it. And another game that I hope, like Multiverses, comes to Switch, and it's one of the biggest wrestling games I'm looking forward to right now. So there's that. And with that being said, before we get to number one, I want to go over a few honorable mentions on my list. Hogwarts Legacy. Big Harry Potter fan. To see like an open world-ish kind of like Skyrim, Elder Scrolls type game with Harry Potter world and all that seems pretty interesting. I'm at least somewhat interested in it. It looks like it could be a fun game. We got the new Perfect Dark, which is not confirmed for 2022 either, just like AEW. But it's probably going to be one of Microsoft's next big Xbox games, so I would not be surprised if it's a fall 2022 kind of thing. And I love the original Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark Zero is, since I've got it back on Xbox, I've actually tried that out. It's okay. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Metal Slug Tactics. I love me some tactical games. That's the reason why I love the likes of Fire Emblem and Disgaea and Final Fantasy Tactics and stuff like that. And Metal Slug characters are cool. I love the Metal Slug franchise, so to see those two mesh together would be pretty cool. Splatoon 3 is another great one. I like the first one. I love the second one. It's going to be fun seeing that. Triangle Strategy. It's another thing like Octopath Traveler, but like used, I think, kind of like a strategy game. So it just falls into the same thing as my Metal Slug Tactics. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Another new fun Kirby game. Definitely looking forward to that. And it looks like it's going to be fun, like most Kirby games. And it looks like a classic style Kirby game, too, that has somewhat open world-ish elements, but like big world type stuff, like a Mario Odyssey kind of a thing. And Insomniac's Wolverine game. And we haven't seen much of it yet, but if it's like the Spider-Man game, Spider-Man 2018 was a really fun as hell game, probably one of my favorite games that year. They can integrate that with Wolverine and possibly some X-Men villains and running around with his claws and slashing people up. That would be awesome. And that's it. Those 7 honorable mentions. And now, drum roll, please. Number one game I am so far looking forward to next year is an obvious one if you know me and have watched my channel. And that's The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel. I loved Breath of the Wild 1. I've heard the ups and downs of it. Was it perfect? No. But I do think it was a good game in general, a good Zelda game. There was elements of it I did not like. There's elements that I liked and I did not like. I liked how much more open world it was. It was the big adventure game. What I loved about it so much was it took you were literally scouring the lands. You were literally hunting down locations, and it took you a while to travel and traverse that whole map. It may not have been the biggest map in gaming history, but it was a pretty damn big map for a Zelda game. And it was fun traversing through that because I actually went and found all the towers before I fully went out and finished every single shrine. Not shrine, but, beast and all that stuff. I never beat all the shrines. But I loved just the aesthetic of it being an open world game, a big open adventuring game like the original Legend of Zelda. It was pretty much them envisioning that, but in a full-fledged modern-day game. I didn't like that it was not super story-driven. I wanted it to be a little bit more story-driven, but I think that's what this one's going to be. I think this one's going to be focusing more on a story because they're showing the aftermath of Calamity Ganon. They're showing this corpse by, which is probably Ganon's corpse, and it feels like there's more of a story to it, and they're taking everything they did with the original and just doing it better, like how they did like Mario Galaxy back in the day, and Miyamoto wanted and more content, so they just made Mario Galaxy 2. It feels like they're stuff they probably had planned for the original, and they're going to put in this one, which probably is a story. And I'm hoping, because I'd like to see that story expanded upon more, because it's cool, like leaving it more open to you to earn the story yourself. But I love Zelda games being a little bit more direct with their story as well. So I like them to find a nice balance where it's open world enough, but very story driven enough. So find a nice balance there. But I did like the first one a lot, to the point where I'm looking forward to this game. It's probably like I said, it's my #1 most look forward to game next year. And as a big Legend of Zelda fan, I'm looking forward to it because it's the next big Legend of Zelda game. And that in general is what I'm looking forward to. So that's it for my top 10 games as of now I'm looking forward to next year in 2022. And the games are as follows. Number 10, Rune Factory 5. Number 9, River City Girls 2. Number 8, Chocobo GP. Number 7, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. 6 is Pokemon Legends Arceus. 5 is Multiverses. 4 is Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. 3 is Bayonetta 3. 2 is the AEW video game. All those honorable mentions I mentioned. And number 1 is the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel. Those that want to see exactly the list in written form, here you go. There you go. They are there for you to see. And with that being said, my name is Sniping is Fun. I hope you guys like this video. Please subscribe if you want to. Have a lovely day. And put in the comment section, what video games are you looking forward to next year? Let's discuss it down there and have some fun. And stay tuned for more videos coming from my channel, top 10s or otherwise. Bye, everyone.